Why is it always the person that looks like this is always the person that actually understands things? These tariffs are fantastic. It's going to work out for everybody in their individual countries. These tariffs only take effect when you are shipping things to the country or you're shipping things through the country. Other than that, it's not taking effect. What's the biggest problem right now? Overpopulation. There's too many people. Just like they said back in the 50s, 60s, 70s. I think they even said it in the 80s. But they just told them, if you keep having, 5 or more kids a piece, then there's not going to be enough people to go around because your freaking, your 5 or more kids are going to have 5 or more kids, and then it's not a sustainable rate of growth. But no one wants to listen. They just want to do whatever they want to do. So anyway, because we're coming from a time period where, like, all the kids were expected to have kids. So, but now it's weird right now. Like, they're just, like, accepting that you just won't have any. And that's just pretty crazy. That is weird. It didn't come up before. But yeah, why is it always people that look like me that understand, like, economics and shit? I don't know. But yeah, this is good for individual countries because so yeah, if you're shipping things to a country or through a country, that's when tariffs take effect. China just raised tariffs to 128% for America specifically. Hey, you guys, how often does China buy American products? They don't. They don't buy American products. They may have a cell phone or something like that. But honestly, since China makes their products anyway, they don't have to buy any American products. The products are already made in their country. And, I think that's funny and if we're thinking about it in other terms, it's very disrespectful for all these other countries to disrespect America like that. It's very disrespectful and China should know better. China, like their culture is supposed to be a culture of respect, and I'm just so surprised at China. I'm surprised at all of Asia and just these countries that are supposed to be countries that are respect focused to be crazy like that. China knows damn well that everybody is doing business with them, that America gives them more business than they can handle. Sometimes, I'm sure. America buys everything from China. America has given China so much fucking money, so much business. So, and then with that business, their people get the jobs. And their country prospers, I would say, specifically because of America and Americans. Buying clothes, products, makeup, everything that Americans have has been made in freaking China. Like, it's very safe to say you can go to, just pick a random American house. Pick a random 1,000 American houses. Go in there, look at all their products, look at all their clothes, and I promise you they came from China. And that's money right there. So how disrespectful for China to be like, we're going to raise tariffs on you. Out of all the money that America gives you, you're like, we're going to raise prices on you? That's so shitty. Like, China should be like, well, yeah, they do give us a lot of business, so, we should just see this as a return, really. That's what China should do, exactly how I did it, like, on the news, like, exactly how I just did it. So, very disrespectful to fucking do that. Mexico knows how much fucking business America is allowing them to get with Americans. They just did a report on it, which I could look it up, but I'm not doing it in this video. But it'll probably be on my blog somewhere, because I'm just trying to write. But Um, like Mexicans are allowed. They have businesses. They have business licenses. They come over here with a business visa, and they come over and they sell their produce to Americans. You know, they sell produce and different substances to Americans in dyes, produce, which just mean like fruits and vegetables, dyes being natural dyes, such as, you know, red dyes and different native dyes. I say like, because these are like the original dyes, so just old dyes like that. And they sell that stuff at farmers markets, Whole Foods, Aldi's, you know? Literally. Whole Foods, Aldi's, and Target are the big stores in America right now. Some might think that I would say Walmart, but Walmart, you go there for specific stuff. If you look at a Walmart, um, they don't really have fruits and vegetables. You may go to some Walmarts, like I've actually found one Walmart that had fruits and like they had a fruit and vegetable section, but there's also plenty more Walmarts that I've gone to and they don't sell any raw, I would say raw, some know them as fresh fruits and vegetables that just aren't processed. You know, they're not pre-rinsed, they're not cut up, anything like that. I'm just watching this kid, like how people just have no consciousness of like horses. Oh. But anyway, why is it always someone in a black hoodie that actually understands things? So if you're shipping things to America or through America or whatever country, that's when the tariffs take place. But um, um, but one thing that someone that knows about business knows, you can hire a manager. You can hire a CEO if you wanted to for your company. Send them to another country with a contract previously being signed, and now with that contract to make sure they can't steal your recipe. If they do, they owe you a lot of money and their lives, in a way or whatever, will be ruined. You hire a CEO or a manager, and or like I said, a manager, and they're gonna go to another country, and they're gonna have all of your product plans, whatever plans you give them, recipes, equipment to be used. Like if you ever worked at a factory, like machine operators or whatever, they have books and they'll tell you the materials, it'll tell you the machines that are supposed to be used to make the product, the parts that you need to make the product. And you'll even find another book that has a list of every last product they use, how it's made, where they get it from. Then there's a recipe book what's the recipe, what does it look like, how do you put it together. You give them that packet, which now we have laptops, we have computers, and then you can give them, like, for business people that have their mind on billions and trillions of dollars. It doesn't mean shit to send somebody with a funky little laptop that costs a couple $100, and that laptop is just filled up with everything that I just said. A file that talks about the machines that you're going to need, a file that talks about the materials and where to get them, and a file that talks about how to put it together and what it's supposed to look like, aka how to put the product together. That's like 4 files. You send them with a laptop, 4 files in it. And like some spy shit. Like there's a code on the laptop, and they're carrying it in their bag and stuff like that. So it's just really cool. And they go to another country and they simply buy up a building, or contract for an entire building to be built, but most likely buy or rent a building. They go there with all of your stuff, working for you, the owner. Or if it's like a generational thing, well, yeah, the owner, because the owners are the ones that set all this up, approve all of this stuff in the long run. Even if they hire somebody to be like their stand-in and do what they say, it's still the owner at the end of the day. So the owner sends them there under contract that they are there to produce their product and distribute their product. And you just go to another country, and then you start making it in that individual country, and you start distributing it throughout the country. But the cool thing is that you're in that country now. So it's not the same thing as shipping it in. It would be a lot cheaper to send someone there and to make it in the country, and distribute it. But how is it great though? That's whatever, it's business stupid shit. How is it good though? They have to hire native people. They have to hire people that live in those countries to make the products, to distribute the products. They have to hire people that live there. There's a huge work shortage in every last country on earth right now. There are way more people than there are jobs to go around. And doing this will open up literally thousands of jobs. And not only thousands of jobs, but it's going to open up thousands of jobs per company. Unfortunately, as far as a biological standpoint, this is going to be terrible, because it's going to mean more trucks on the road, more motorcycles, more just more emissions in the air, in the atmosphere, more destroying of the bio layers that protect Earth, which means global warming, and global weather is going to get worse. Where I live, we had a very mild winter. We had a mild winter in terms of snow. It didn't snow too much, but it was really cold. And also, what the heck? But anyway, this winter is lasting really long. That is not okay. It is. I mean, there's nothing I can do. If you see me going like, what the heck? But yeah, this is great for the people. This is great for the people that live in these countries, because that's thousands of jobs opening up. Biologically, this is a bad thing, because we're making the progress that scientists and economic, like people that economics is their life. we're making the progress that scientists were talking about in order to survive. Because people, the number one reason why things are so messed up is because of people having way too many children. And the second reason is now, instead of people life expectancy, people were expected to die around 50, 60 years old. They were expected to start dying at 50 and 60, but they're not dying at 50 and 60 anymore. Now they're dying at 70 and 80 years old. So that means, and those people still have to be taken care of. So that's less money to go around. That's less people to buy things, because now, since you're pinching your pennies, you can't just go and buy stuff. So, yeah. So it's just people having way too many children, and then people not dying. It's just really messing things up. But I mean, as far as the whole dying thing, everyone knows about that shit. But so that means the real problem is people just having way too many kids, and you can find reports back from the 50s, 60s, 70s of people constantly telling people you can't keep having, no 8 children. No 8 children, no 8 people that are genetically linked to just you two. And then those kids are going to turn around and feel comfortable with having 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 12, children, because each one of those kids now has to have a job. They have to have somewhere to live. They're going to be expected to be taken care of. So they also need government benefits. The money, all this stuff goes around in a circle. And when you make way too many people, things can't circulate. People that are going through their hospital life, where they're just learning more and more about their bodies and how they actually function. The first thing that you will learn is how important circulation is for your body's health. And so, yeah, circulation is really important. And that's how this stuff goes. It circulates. And if it can't do it, then it's going to mess everything up. So, yeah. So, number one tip to improve for the long run. And I know it sucks, you're thinking of your genetic, shit, you're thinking of about your genetic shit. You're thinking about, I want enough kids that are going to last. Because the way things are going and the way things go, if I have, 6 kids, with getting sick and things like that, I have 6 kids, maybe only 2 or 3 may have children. Maybe even 1. And then luckily, with that same mindset of having like a whole bunch of kids, that one kid will be completely comfortable with having 6, 8 kids, as many as they could possibly pop out. So genetically, keeping your genetic line, going into the future, that mindset is good. But what if all 6 of your kids have 6 kids? And that's the problem. So, this is just like another maybe wake-up call to think about things like that. I think a pretty sweet number. And, like, people used to tell their kids that. People used to tell them about, reality, the plans. Like, oh, we have 4 kids because we wanted to make sure our genes went on into the future. But your brother, your sister, Um, your brother and your sister, they both have like 3 and 4 kids now. So now you two can basically do whatever the fuck you want to do. If you want to have kids, go have kids. If you just want to live your life and you don't want to, that's fine because your brother and your sister both now have 3 to 4 children apiece. So you are good to live your life. I mean, everyone's had that. Like their auntie or their uncle, and they're just auntie and uncle. They never had any kids. Well, now your brother and sister, they both have like 3 and 4 kids, so now you guys get to just exist. you know. But people don't do that anymore. They don't tell them about the whole reality of not only life but the future. It's just like, as we can see, and I just literally said that yesterday. I said ignoring what's going on isn't going to make anything better. So ignoring how life really works right now, but also in the future, it's not going to change anything that's going on. It's just going to be you acting like it's not happening. So but why does it always have to be the person in the black hoodie that can see stuff like that? I'm gonna say this right now. I voted for Trump. And I knew he was a business guy. I knew he's been making his promises since the fucking, like, the 80s or some shit. And I didn't know. Everyone thought he wasn't going to follow through on it. He followed through as much as he could. He stuck to his word as much as he could. He's a stand-up guy. As far as, business, as far as personal practice, I don't know him on that deep level. He might be a piece of shit when it comes to women. But according to his joking, like how to calm a woman down is to do some things. So, hey, that's mindful. That's considerate. So, hey. Not too many faults. I don't know him like that, so I can't come up with more. But so far, this is really good for people, like I said, in these countries, which somebody that has a money brain would be able to think about, because they've never done this before. I'm just weirded out how these countries are like, oh my gosh, I can't believe he did this. And then Trump literally spent 3 years having conferences in all of these countries. So why are you guys acting like you didn't know? Like, just watching them just pretend right in front of everyone's faces. It's just, it's disrespectful to people. But, like, they could have just literally been honest with people, and they could have been like, we came up with a plan to fix the world's economics, which is going back to a older model, because before all this automation and shipping really popped off, that's what they used to do. Speaking of the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, that's what they used to do. In the 40s, 50s, 60s, they would, a business owner would just hire a guy, or the owner would go themselves and they would leave a manager in their spot while the owner actually left. And the owner would go off to another country, because of course the owner is the only one that trusts themselves with their recipes, just all of their entire business model. I'm not going to trust some guy with my business model. I'm going to go myself. I only trust myself to know all this information, to have access to all this information. So they would go themselves to these other countries, open up a branch, and they would hire somebody to manage that, and then go back home, or go back to the next country, and do the same thing there. That's how they used to spread a business back in the day. But then they came up with computers, and they came up with shipping, and then you didn't have to do that anymore. So they just went back to an older model of doing things. But yeah, these are the countries raising prices. But like I said, this would encourage countries to just contract to make products, which is going to increase jobs in all countries. And then people will be able to feel free and lose themselves again, because you never learn. Lose yourselves again and have, 5 and 6 kids irresponsibly, which is how we're in this problem. Remember back in another time period when I was a kid, everyone had a job. Yeah, there were homeless people, but those homeless people, there's a reason why they had the stereotype of, no, they're just drug heads. No, they're people that, had those rare parents that were probably prostitutes. And they just started prostituting themselves also. Or they're orphans, or they have mental problems. Because that's what it was when I was a kid. No normal person with sanity would be without a job. So, yeah. But this is good. Yeah. But when I was a kid, everyone had a job. There was like a job for each person. There was even not only just one job for each person, but there was literally 2 jobs for each person. Finding somebody that had 2 jobs. The only reason why people weren't working 2 jobs is because they were too tired to work 2 jobs. But if you weren't too tired, or you had children that you had to be around for, then someone would easily have 2 damn jobs. And they would have 2 jobs for years. 2 jobs for years. So yeah. Yeah. To get things done in my house, I've had, up to 4 jobs. And then those 4 jobs, just with me juggling and working with the shitty schedules they gave me, it added up to 1 full-time job. But the point is that I still filled multiple spots. So, yeah, you can't do that now. Even though businesses tried really hard back then. Like, do you have more than 1 job? Oh, we can't hire you if you have more than 1 job. Like, obviously, if I'm trying to get more than 1 job, then clearly 1 job is cutting it. And you can't just say to somebody, why don't you just quit your job? Why don't you just quit your fucking life, bitch? Like, you can't tell me to quit my damn job? You have some money for me? So, it's just ridiculous. Gosh. Oh, beef Wellington. I know what that is. Beef Wellington, which is just some beef. It's just a big, thick beef steak. And they're just letting this guy cover this in pepper for no damn reason. But just beef. It's just a big, thick steak cooked. And then they cook it in a stove to about rare or medium rare. Then they wrap it in dough. And then they cook it in the stove for longer. And by the time it comes out, you can have a well or a lightly rare big-ass steak with nice crunchy bread wrapped around it. And this is a terrible-ass thing. Look at how disgusting it is. They're trying so hard to convince people to do things they're not supposed to do just for sales. This bitch just made a fucking beef Wellington. I'm watching Good Morning America. Good Morning America, and they're doing their Today food on April 11th, 2025. And this bitch just made a fucking beef Wellington, which is already buttery than a motherfucker. And then just to fucking, influence people to fucking do it, she just fucking put a whole bunch of fucking butter on top of the damn beef Wellington. Don't put butter on top of damn beef Wellington. The beef already has all that beef solidifying grease in it. And then the bread usually has, a lot of butter. You don't need shit else. This is already a damn heart attack. Already. Fucking idiots. Oh, great. Now he's gonna ruin the fucking stage. Think he's funny. Not realizing that no one thinks that stupid shit is funny anymore. And this is what got this guy like the couple roles that he got, freaking acting like he was a dork. Well, displaying that he was just a dork that was all over the fucking place. Like, the shit hasn't been cute for the longest time. No one finds that shit funny anymore. He's gained so much fucking weight. He used to be so skinny. He used to be a skinny legend, gals. A skinny legend! Like a guy that was just really comfortable with being skinny. Which you don't really find that often. Are you kidding me? This stupid, shitty ass grocery store just showed a commercial, like advertising where all their fucking stores are at. How lowbrow. But anyway, let me get off of here. The point is that this tariff thing, it works out for the bigger picture, but for the individual, I know, for the individual, the small business, it is a big kick to the fucking teeth. Okay? Look at this. Look at this. I am working on being a small freaking distributor, and if someone buys my stuff, then that's good. But anyway. So yeah, but I'm working on my small businessery again. So yeah, this is good. It's just shitty for small businesses, but in a way, it's still good because it's gonna force small businesses to have to do business, focus on their country, distributing business throughout their own country before they can even think about distributing in another country. They're gonna have to get a good footing in America. That means they're gonna have to advertise. They're gonna have to pay people to advertise, promote, distribute, promote. They're gonna have to start giving away free samples. Like, it might actually have things go back to how things used to be, you know? I've just been noticing that over the last couple of years, and I've just been disgusted and just disheartened, and nothing is free anymore, and you're constantly being fucking harassed. You know, I'm trying to sit on the fucking bench and mind my fucking business, and I'm getting fucking harassed. You can't fucking just sit here. And I'm like, it's a fucking bench. I'm like, it's a fucking bench. It's literally made for you to just sit here. And like, yeah, but you're loitering now because you've been here for like 20 minutes. And I'm like, loitering is after an hour, and this is a bench. It's for somewhere. It's for people to sit. And so that doesn't follow the same loitering rules. And like, yeah, like, it's just so disgusting. They want you to pay for everything. They just want you to keep moving, keep shopping. The only place you can sit down is in your house. If you sit down for any longer, you have to be really rich and you have to have connections, aka you need to threaten me with having my fucking livelihood fucking destroyed if you want to even sit down on a fucking bench. Like, this shit is so disgusting. So once they complete this is gonna send things closer to how they used to be. Like I said, people used to value their customers. People used to do their best to make sure their customers were happy. And they don't do that now in America. It's just like, they're just like, whatever. Either you're gonna buy it or you're not. I don't give a fuck. They're literally letting shitty ass shit things come in, and many would say disrupt business by being fucking disrespectful as hell. Like, clearly I'm gonna do everything I can to not ever have to come back here. Just because I don't want to be around shit like you, you know, and I'm way better, and I behave way better, and I can't have a job. Like, you should not have this job. Or any job, really. So, yeah, but making people more desperate and getting people more face to face with their um, customers and forcing them to have to behave better if they want to survive and have their businesses be successful. Um, it's going to force business owners back into the spot that they used to be in, the spot of satisfaction, making sure your customers are happy, and valuing and being happy that you even have any customers in the first place. So, yeah. Oh my gosh, now they're talking about.
We hear from local advocates on potential consequences. Congratulations again, Alderman Quesada. Welcome to the City Council. The 35th Ward's new alderman joins us to talk about his latest role and pushback from some of his new colleagues. It's like our job to open the door and then hold it open for these other kids to come through. And inside a local organization helping teens tell their stories.
I think kids should just be kids. Like, you don't have a fucking story. You don't have a fucking story. If you just did what you're supposed to do, you wouldn't have a fucking story. Go to fucking school, get fucking good grades. Your fucking biggest stress should be getting good grades. And then that's it. Like, what fucking story, you dumb bastard? The story of you not fucking listening. The story of you not doing what the fuck you're told.